back to Books and Wine, the podcast. I know I've been lost for a minute, but we're back, and I'm so happy that we are back with someone extremely, extremely special in the wine space in Nairobi, in Kenya, and who we've collaborated on a couple of times, and she's my wine sister, if I can put it like that. So I'll let you introduce yourself.
Okay.
So tell us.
I hope my voice is good enough. Okay, so my name is Rahab Mwangi, famously known as Women Who Wine.
Exactly.
Yes.
I wanted that to come out from you.
Yes. Yeah, so every time I say I'm Rahab Mwangi, they're like, oh, Women Who Wine. Yes, yeah. So Women Who Wine, basically, yeah. So certified wine lover.
Yay.
Yeah, so I run a social network of women who, not just women, because this one will get me in a lot of trouble because I have so many male friends who come for my events. Yeah, so it's a network of people who love wine. So basically wine lovers who come together in events, curated by me, in partnership with different wine suppliers, wine importers. Yeah, we try and make wine fun. I believe wine should not be snobbish.
Yes.
Wine should not be complicated. I know some people make wine complicated. Yeah. So for me, my biggest goal is to make wine approachable and fun.
And I think you do a really good job of that.
Thank you.
I see that you... Okay, first of all,
yes.
Karibu.
Asante.
The podcast.
Yes. It's been a long
way
time coming.
I know, we've been planning for a long, long time.
Yes.
But you're a busy person, and I try to stay busy sometimes. So, things get in the way. Yes. But I guess this was the right time for
it didn't happen at the right time.
I know, right?
Yes.
And I'm glad we're here. So, first of all, Rahab.
Yes.
Well, let me not say who is Rahab. Let's just get into the wine bit.
Yes. I think my life is not as interesting as it is when it comes to wine.
We met in a wine setting.
Yes.
I think I did I DM you?
Yes.
I must have DM'd you.
You DM'd me, and I came and hosted one of your Books and Wine events.
Yes.
At Trademark.
At Trademark Hotel.
Yes.
That must be maybe like 2 years ago.
Wow, 2 years ago.
So that's the first time we met in person. But I've been seeing what you're doing, and I was like, wow, this girl she's doing things.
Thank you.
And it's been great since then.
Yes.
But I'm curious to know, how did you get interested in wine? How did you... what are some of your earliest wine memories?
Oh,
I hope they're legal.
Yes.
Or rather, you are of a legal age.
Okay, we are going to skip the part where, we used to sneak in a drink here and there when we were not legal. But yes. So my love for wine is because, I kind of grew up around wine.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm around wine lovers. Yeah. So wine was my first drink of choice.
Oh, nice.
I think I had no choice. I just had to lean more towards wine. But of course, when you go to campus and you're rioting and you're having, your whiskey, your shots, those days of Zappa and...
Yes. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Zappa on fire. Yes. But in my 20s, I kind of went back now to drinking wine officially. Yeah. So, and since then, I've always been curious about wine and, what makes wine special, what makes wine... Because I don't know if you also feel the same way. Like every time you drink wine, it's like every wine has a story.
True.
Even the bottle we're having now, it's like, from the look of the bottle, from the taste, and it really, how can I put it? Sparked something in me. Yeah. And over the years, I've always been keen on learning more about wine. Yeah. But it wasn't until COVID happened that I decided, Women Who Wine should actually happen now.
Oh, yes. You don't say?
Yes.
Okay, for context, for the listener, we are drinking rosé.
Yes.
It's such a gorgeous, a sparkling rosé, Annabelle Cuvée rosé.
Yes.
And it's such a nice, pretty floral bottle.
Yes.
And it's my first time drinking this particular wine. So, but I feel it's so appropriate for the moment, right?
Oh, yes, it is. It's like a celebratory drink. Yeah. So when COVID
happened,
yes.
and
So when COVID happened,
Yeah.
I remember, so guys would come, especially my friends, they'd be like, you know what, we are so bored. Can we do something fun? So we started doing picnics with my friends. So they're like, okay, bring the wine, we'll pay you.
Yeah. Oh, I remember
Yes.
there's a time you had like a picnic, a bottomless.
Yes.
Was it sangria or something like that?
Yes. So that was actually the first one I did, but mostly it was with my friends. So my friends would come, I do the charcuterie, I do a proper setup, I bring the wines and people pay. But those are just my friends.
Yeah.
So I realized, you know what, I can actually monetize this and make it a thing.
Yeah.
Why not? So I think it was 2020 when I did my first event
Yeah.
with Sylvia, Liquor Library.
Yeah.
She was the first person who ever saw and believed in my dream.
Yeah.
Yes, so she gave me her space. At that time, she was on Kiambu Road.
Yeah.
So she gave me her space. She had a really nice, beautiful tasting room.
Yeah.
So she gave me her space free of charge. She told me, you do your thing for as long as you want. Even when I started YouTube, I used to shoot at her space.
Oh, nice.
Yes. She used to push me a lot, like, you know, do this, do your thing. I'm
Sylvia
here,
is
I'm
great.
cheering you on and all that. So yeah, I started doing at Liquor Library. Then now other people started seeing what I'm doing and they're like, you know, come to my space.
Yeah.
Bring women who wine, come curate something, we'll offer the space, maybe buy tins, and you can maybe bring the wines.
Yeah.
And that's when I started now working with now different importers and different restaurants and premises. It's not just restaurants only.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I see like you have a very busy calendar.
Oh my gosh, yes.
There's sushi, with wine, there's pizza, there's...
Yes.
How do you come about like your inspiration for like how you curate
Okay, so
the various events?
So like I said, I try to make wine very fun, very relatable and approachable. So every time people think about wine, they always think about cheese.
Yeah.
Or very fine dining, right?
Yes.
So for me, I try to make it, you know, show you different ways how you can enjoy your wine. You can have your wine with sushi. You can have your wine with pizza.
Yeah.
You can have your wine with burgers. You can even have it with your nyama choma there at your local joint there.
And you should.
It's not always beer and nyama choma.
Yeah.
You can still have your wine and your nyama choma. So it's just give people different experiences. We can't always be doing all the time wine and cheese, wine and cheese, wine and cheese. There's so many other ways to pair wine. And they always say wine is the perfect pairing for food. Literally any food.
Yeah, I mean even Jesus.
Even your githeri at home.
Jesus made water into
exactly.
Not into whiskey.
Yeah. By the way, there's a reason why.
Made water into wine.
Yes, there's a reason why.
It's a perfect celebration.
Yes.
For every occasion.
Yes.
But I heard you say something in your introduction.
Yes.
You know, certified wine lover.
Yes.
So that brings me to the question that, you know, you're not just a wine lover, but you're someone that's gone into study about wine, get some certification. Like, what is that? What does that look like?
Okay, so I'm gonna say you don't have to be certified to be a wine connoisseur or be a wine lover. I believe you learn about wine every time you drink wine. Going to school, we read all these books. You know, you do your WSET, you do your wines of South Africa, you do your. There's something I'm trying to do, but I'm not gonna say now. Yeah. So there's another certification I'm trying to get. Yeah. So there are all these certifications you can get, but if you're not, it's practical.
If you're not interacting,
you can practice what you have to practice what you're reading. Yes. So the more you interact with wine, the more you learn. I'll give an example of you. You know your wine. You have not gone to school, right? Yeah. It's just
not for wine.
Yes, not for oh, sorry. Yes, I should have made that clear. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
So, formal school, because I think we learn in very different ways and different platforms. Yeah,
it's just like even whiskey connoisseurs. It's something you learn over time. The more you interact with it, the more you learn. But for most of us, for what we do, you have to get that certification. It makes you credible.
It's true.
Yes, so you can't approach people you want to work with them, and you don't have any certification. So that really comes in handy. But for the people out there and you really want to learn about wine and you want to know about wine, you can still do your WSET, you can do your wines of South Africa. Most of these courses are available online. Yeah. You can sign up and do them just for your own sake. You don't even have to become a sommelier or work in the wine space. Yeah. It's just for you to know, you know, what to buy, how to buy wine. Yeah. If you're a collector, how do you start investing in wine? You don't want to start investing in the wrong. It's true. You don't want to be buying the wrong wines. Yeah. Yes. So it's the courses are not expensive, so you can just do the most basic ones. Yes.
Or go to women who wine events.
Or you can come to my events.
You're going to learn about wine. Or go to books and wine events.
Yes.
And get to interact with wine.
Yes.
But why women? Well, I know you were already giving a disclaimer earlier about that.
Yeah, I've gotten a bit of backlash
but
from
there must have been like an inspiration.
Yes.
Why you were like, okay, specifically, let me talk to women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I started Women Who Wine, basically when I started doing the small events, it was usually women. And I realized, we always say women and wine. I mean, every time we think about wine, we always think about women.
Especially here.
Yes.
Or rather in Nairobi.
Yes, usually in Kenya, yes.
It's a very feminized
with African women,
drink.
With African men, I don't know, they have this toxic masculinity where, okay, not all of them, there are people who enjoy their wine, but there are people who would rather be dead than be seen holding a glass of wine in public.
Yeah.
Yes. But
which is like a misconception.
Because even women drink whiskey. You can't say whiskey is a man's drink.
It's true.
Anybody can drink wine. Anybody can drink whiskey. But now, ironically, if you go back to the Roman times, women are not allowed to drink wine. So wine was a man's drink.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. So what happened is, I always say, I feel like men hated women at that time. I don't know, maybe they still do. Okay, that's debatable.
Just now they're being called out for, for discrimination. Yeah, but if you look at a lot of things, they were not inspired by love.
No. Most of them were inspired by their dislike for women. So now, during those days, they didn't know how to treat water. These are things now we've learned with technology. How do you treat your water, make it safe for drinking? Yeah. Back then, they didn't know how to treat water.
There's no chlorine.
Yes.
And if you don't live in a spring, somewhere where there's fresh water. Yeah.
Yes. So they started getting sick. So they started getting typhoid, cholera, all those water-related diseases. Yeah. But they didn't know how. They didn't know it. At some point, they didn't know it was the water causing it. When they discovered it was the water causing it, they stopped drinking water.
Yeah.
So to quench their thirst, they used to drink wine.
Wow.
But now you're not gonna call it wine. You're gonna call it fermented fruit juice.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's wine like wine as we know it today.
Yeah.
But we say it's wine in the olden days. Whatever they called, whatever they referred to as wine.
Yeah.
So they used to drink wine to quench their thirst, and they realized every time they drink wine, they never got sick. So they decided, no, to quench your thirst, just drink wine. But now, you remember, women are not supposed to drink the wine.
Yeah.
So women should still continue drinking the water that is contaminated.
So
it was so bad to the point where women used to be beheaded. If a man finds you drinking wine, you get beheaded, and then the man will carry your head like a trophy.
Wow!
You've watched those medieval movies.
Yeah.
They're so violent and so.
And then your head is put on a stake.
Yes,
in the town square, so that everyone can see.
Be and an the example. Men will celebrate and say, you know what, she's an outcast. She broke the rules.
Yeah.
She deserved to die, and they'll celebrate by drinking more wine.
And if you think, like of so many things that have been denied women,
yes,
and including having a bank account,
going to hospital,
owning land, even
yes, working. They're all things that are beneficial to women, but they feel like if we give them this, it's like we're empowering them. Yeah. So now, it was. I mean, I can't imagine. I can't imagine having, the women who used to live, who survived that era. I mean, hats off to them. I mean, they really did well.
So for you, it's sort of a reclamation of that power.
Yes. So for me, Women Who Wine was kind of like paying homage.
Yeah.
To the women who died.
Yeah.
Drinking this, drink we love so much.
Yeah. Who are forbidden.
Yeah, we're kind of honoring them, and it's showing that we've come so far as women to the point where now a woman can just drink at your own pleasure. No one is gonna ask you questions as long as you're of legal age. Yeah. No one is gonna come and say, women are not supposed to be drinking, or women are not supposed to be in this premise if it's a drinking, if it's like a bar or a restaurant or all that. So we've come a long way, and for me, Women Who Wine is a celebration of that.
Yay!
Yes, power to us.
Power to us.
Yeah. So that's the whole concept of Women Who Wine, and also the fact that women love wine. So every time we think about wine, it's always about women.
Yay!
Yes.
I'm as somebody who works with people.
Yes.
A curator for events.
Yes.
Interacting with people. I'm always amazed at, how gratifying that work can be.
Yes, it is.
But I just want to hear it from you that, what are some of your highlights when you curate these events? What are some of the moments when you're like, I'm doing the right thing.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
For me, it's always, you know, sometimes you find people who come and they have no idea, no clue.
Yeah.
What wine is all about, and every time they come and you know, by the time they're leaving that space, you can tell they actually, you know, I always say I convert people into
wine.
It's
wine
like
drinking.
yeah, someone said I'm like a cult leader. You have a cult of wine lovers.
Yeah.
So I always love it when I see people appreciate wine and love it for what it is, because you know, we have this, especially Kenyans, we have this misconception that wine is cheap. Wine is, you know, wine is basic.
Yeah.
So people see you drinking wine and they're like, wow, of all the things you can drink. I had an encounter many years ago with a guy who found me drinking wine somewhere.
Yeah.
And I was like, a bit woman like you should not be drinking cheap alcohol. So I was like, what is cheap alcohol?
Wow.
So he said, you know what, you should be drinking whiskey. And now he offered to buy a very expensive whiskey.
Whiskey bottle, yeah.
And I asked him, what makes you think wine is cheap compared to whiskey? They're like, no, whiskey is more refined, you know. I was like, wine is also more refined. I mean,
there's a whole entire world.
Exactly. We can debate about that also. You know?
Yeah.
So he said, no. I just thought, you know, wine is just, you know, it's a cheap drink, very basic. You should be drinking something expensive.
Yeah.
And people forget wine is also expensive. Depends on, you know.
I mean, yeah. There's wine for all
Yes.
different price points.
Exactly.
And for all different occasions.
Yes. It's just like whiskey. There's cheap whiskey.
Exactly.
Whiskey.
The other day I was at a place.
Yes.
And there was a bottle that was going for, was it 149,000 Kenya shillings?
Yep, they're there.
I mean, the bottle was even in a glass case.
Yes.
Because you don't want any accidents around
You
it.
don't want to take any chances, someone stealing it
so
or
I guess,
breaking it.
Yeah.
So that depends on, you know, how you look at it and how well you appreciate wine. So some people come and, you know, that you see that misconception
Changing.
Yeah, it changes over time. They're like, you know what, I actually think wine is, you know, it takes time for you to understand wine, but once you understand it and once you learn about it, you actually start appreciating it more. And I always feel so happy when I see that. And I see, when I see the community growing, you know, when you do an event and you see people showing up again and again and again and again, it's such a good feeling, because, you know, you feel like you're doing something right.
Yeah.
And even seen, like, even on Instagram, like, you see even people tagging you all the time, like, oh, you know, I tasted this wine at an event and now this is my favorite wine, and you know, everywhere I go I want to buy this wine. It's always a good feeling. Always a good feeling.
But what are some of the challenges? I'm sure there's some.
Wow. Yes, so many.
Yeah.
So many. So so sometimes it's hard to satisfy. Okay, you know, I don't know how to put this, but there are people who like some people attend tastings and they expect way too much. Too much. So, you know, it clearly says it's a tasting.
Yeah.
And someone comes expecting to, you know, get high and, you know, leave that place crawling, you know, like they think it's gonna be like bottomless wine, and, you know, you're like, okay, you do realize it's a tasting. We are here to, you know, taste, learn,
and appreciate it.
Yes.
It's not a drinking spree.
no, it's not a bottomless brunch or bottomless, you know, happy hour. So sometimes people will complain like, oh no, you know, these things are too expensive, and, you know, we're not getting value for money. And, you know, like we said, wine is not cheap. As much as people say it's cheap, it's not cheap.
Yeah, true.
Because even if you're getting a bottle of like 2,000, 3,000, right? And you're giving 20 people in a room. So meaning you're using how many bottles? At the end of the day, maybe that person has paid like 3,500. You're giving them bitings. You're giving them, you know, the space, the ambience. You're doing, it's a lot of research. Sometimes you do a lot of research before you present anything. Like,
it's curation.
Yes.
You've thought about it.
Yes.
You've researched.
Yes. So like for me, if you come to my tastings, I usually write a lot of, I print out notes for people. You can take them home. So all that takes a lot of work in the background. But some people will not see that. They just expect to come, show up, and, you know, they're getting like a full glass. You give them half or even like, you know, like a third of a glass, which is like the standard tasting amount that are supposed to be served in a tasting. And guys will complain like, oh no, this is too little, and you're like, okay, you know, you're gonna have like 5 different wines, so at the end of the day you're gonna end up maybe taking a whole bottle on your own if you if you're gonna measure it. I think that's the biggest
biggest challenge.
Biggest challenge.
And I think that comes from an ignorance perspective.
Yes, it does.
Because there's the right amount to even serve wine.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So you can't be filling a whole glass to the brim. And
that's what some people
and there's science to it. For instance, what is the right amount to serve wine in a glass?
Yes. So I even posted it the other day. So
Yeah.
now for your red wine, you should always put it at least just about half.
Okay.
Or less, depending on the size of your glass. So if
Yeah.
it's those wide glasses with a wide bowl,
Yeah.
just put it where the glass starts to widen.
Yeah. Just
That
leave
part.
it there.
So it's almost like half
Yeah.
towards the half mark. So you do that. That helps with the swirling.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're swirling your wine, you don't want it to spill.
Yes.
And
So that's with regards to red wine, right?
yes,
So just serve not
slightly below the half point.
okay,
Yes.
and give it room for you to be able to swirl.
Yes.
And
For
the
ingression of oxygen, so
Yeah.
at least it aerates.
yeah.
Yes, because with red wine you need it to open up,
Yeah.
to open up the flavors and the aromas. If you serve it without, that's why we decant wine.
Yeah.
That's why we decant red wine. Most people say they hate red wine, but it's because most people don't know how to serve red wine. So if you drink red wine straight from a bottle
It's gonna
without
be
decanting, especially for an older bottle,
yeah.
it's really gonna put you off.
Yeah.
But you've noticed if you drink the first glass, it's usually off. By the time you're drinking the second and the third, the wine
Yeah.
tastes so good, and you're like, oh, it's because you've given it time to open up.
Yeah.
So that's ideally why we air it.
Yeah.
But I know sometimes people are so eager to drink, they don't want to give it that time. So also there's a trick you can use. You can use a blender.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But so long as your blender, you don't put chili and garlic.
I know. And then
It's going to alter the...
or other things that are going to make the wine taste.
Yes. So unless you have a dedicated blender for maybe only your fruits only, but not
And so
not
the
cooking
airing, how
ingredients.
long are you leaving it?
So ideally like 30 minutes
Okay.
minimum.
Oh, it's a
Yes.
long time to wait for.
I know. So I always tell people, like, when you get home and you really know you're going to have a red wine that night,
just open it in
open
advance.
it, go take a shower. By the time you're done, it will have aerated enough. Yes.
Okay.
You can even use a normal jug.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and just like move it around.
Yes. You don't have to have a proper decanter, because I know decanters are expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can use a jug. Just make sure it has enough room for you to
move it around.
Yeah, to shake it.
Ah, nice.
Yes.
Okay, that's a nice tip.
Yes. So now then, for white wines, so for white wine we serve at least like a third.
Okay.
Because the trick with white wine is you don't want to serve a lot. You're going to run the risk of drinking it warm. Because the longer it stays in the glass, the warmer it gets.
I see.
So you want to have it as chilled as possible. So just serve a little that you can drink,
Yeah,
at
just
your own
before
pace.
the temperature changes.
Before the temperature changes. Yes.
I see.
Yeah. So then with bubbly,
Okay.
when you're using a flute, don't fill it up. I know most people fill up their flute. You can do it just either half or slightly above half.
Okay.
So like 3/4.
So again
for bubbly, so you need a long glass,
like a
yes, long and narrow, because it traps in the bubbles and keeps the effervescence going longer.
I
Yes.
see.
So you want the bubbles to be there even by the time you're taking the last sip.
So that
if
the
you
whole
use a wider
experience
glass, the bubbles will. You see, like what we are taking now, you can tell the
they
bubbles
already
are.
ran off.
Yes.
Yeah.
They escape because the glass is too wide. Yes. That's why we use flutes for sparkling wine.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. I mean, there's
Yeah.
a whole science to
Yes,
everything.
there is. Wine is, I won't lie, wine is a bit complicated, but we can also make it a bit easier.
Yeah.
Just, these small tips help you enjoy wine. And,
Better.
ultimately, you get a better experience if you do the right thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I mean, there's a whole science as to why those things exist.
Yes.
And
yes.
why people have arrived at, for our red wine, this is the
in
glass.
this glass.
For white wine, this is the glass.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, and this would not be Books and Wine, the podcast, without us talking a little bit about
books. I feel like I'm in heaven right now.
Yay.
Book heaven.
So for context for the listener, we are recording this at Somanami Books,
Yes.
which is a bookstore in Nairobi, the only bookstore that you need to know about in Nairobi. It's a Pan-African bookstore.
Yes.
It's also a very intentionally curated space.
Very colorful.
And very colorful, very gorgeous,
Yes.
with a very wide range of books for for every reader,
for the African,
every ages.
I think for the African reader.
Yeah,
basically.
Yes. We've centered. Wait, what am I saying? So Manami has.
Yes.
That's my day job, so that's what I'm saying. We've centered the reader who wants to explore their heritage and I
feel like the moment I walked in here, you can see a lot of African authors, which is not the case with other bookshops.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to trash anyone, but
I mean they're facts.
But here you find, that's what I'm saying, like it's more for the African reader, because you get a lot of African authors. Some of them I'm very shocked. I'm like, wow, I didn't know we had all these.
I know
all these authors. You know, you go to other bookshops and it's always like very foreign. You know,
it's true. And I've always been of the conviction that if you're in Africa, you should see more of yourself.
Yes, you should.
In the stories that you read, in the media that you consume.
Yes.
And that's not always the case.
No, it's not. It's not. Like, for example, like something like that. My daughter she's an avid reader.
Yeah.
And like I was telling you yesterday, like she's read all the Wimpy Kids, and she started taking my Sophie Kinsellers.
Yeah.
But, you know, I would also like her, you know, I would want her to explore African readers, you know, start them from a young age.
Yeah.
So I only got one book. I can't remember the name. So it's by an African reader. It's about, you know, the girl child.
Yeah.
And she's read it, I think, like 3 or 4 times. She keeps reading it.
Because, I mean, it's probably the only book that she has that...
Yeah, I think, you know, she can relate to it. And the fact that, you know, even the cover shows like a black girl and all that. And I feel like I would want to explore more African authors for her. I feel like it's good for an African child to grow up knowing
that their stories matter and that they belong in books.
Yes.
Because sometimes, even us, like, or rather myself, how... the kind of stories I grew up reading, the Sweet Valley Highs, the Sweet Valley Teens.
Yes.
Like, you know about snow, you know about Times Square, you know about all these.
It's very white, very
and very foreign. And then the minute you see a character eating ugali, you know, it feels like such a validation of, you mean.
Because when a kid reads about snow, and you know, in Kenya, there's no snow here. I mean, the food, even when they read, like, even like those kid books and the curriculum, they're reading, like, you know, kids are doing this. And, you know, you come back here and it's not the same here.
It's true.
So they're like, why is this
or
kid?
Or summer break, or all those, you know, unless you're in a different curriculum. But those things feel very foreign.
But that's for a very small group of people locally. Most of the guys here, it's, you know, it's the normal things, the normal Kenyan thing, you know, the normal 844 curriculum, the normal, the food and everything. There's no snow.
There's no snow.
They don't know summer break.
It's true. And you're unlikely to, like, take the train on a normal day, you know, like on a normal commute.
Yes.
So,
for them now it's like, okay, you know, they're taking trains every other day, they're taking buses. You know, kids are like, oh, okay. Unless it's just the other day that SGR came and they're like, okay, you don't take trains every day.
And it's a special occasion because you're going somewhere. You know, you're not going to Mombasa every other day.
Yeah.
So, but yourself, like, what are some of the books that have maybe impacted you? That have left a mark in you, or that you're currently reading? Oh gosh! So, what kind of a reader would you classify yourself as?
I'm not an avid reader. I buy a lot of books.
Okay.
Which is it's a very bad habit.
So you're more of a book collector than a book reader.
I buy a lot,
which is fine.
But it takes me a long time to finish reading them because I can take a book and it will take me a while. You know, I see some people take a book and they finish in like a day or two. For me, I think I'm those people. I like reading slowly and absorb.
And that's okay.
And absorb everything.
Imagine that's okay.
Yes.
No, you don't have to make apologies for it. I'm also not the kind of person that can read a book in 1 day or 2 days or even 3 days, unless that book is very small.
Yes.
I mean, because there is life to live, right?
Yes, there is.
There are other things to do.
Yes, there are.
And also, I'm not even a fast reader like that.
Oh, yeah. I'm a fast reader, but I prefer to read something slowly because I feel like if I'm skimming through, I'm not getting the whole. Because most of the books I like reading are mostly like inspirational books.
Yeah.
Okay, and also a lot of fictional books.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like if I'm skimming through, then I'm not really getting the gist. I mean, if I've paid for something,
yeah,
the value. I milk every value out of it.
I hear you. I completely get you.
Yes.
I'm also of the opinion that some books should be read over time.
Yes, they should.
Like
they really
if you're
should.
reading a book to transform you or to do some self-development,
yes,
you won't do that in a week.
No, you can't.
You won't make changes in your life in a week.
Yes.
So if you do that, I mean, if you read cover to cover and put it aside, like, what are you even doing?
No,
so there's some books that I've even read like over a year because I want to feel like, okay, did I
grasp the whole concept?
And also how am I applying?
Yes.
How am I changing? How am I changing how I think or what I do?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the book there's a book I bought yesterday. It's called Unfuck Yourself.
Yeah.
So it's about how how we limit ourselves with our thoughts and our, like, literally we set limitations for ourselves because either there's a lot of self-doubt and fear
and negative self-talk.
Yes, and negative self-talk. So the book said, so remember the first pages, the writer says, if you're the kind of person who reads a book in hours or a day, just don't waste your time. So he even said they are gifts. Just do yourself a favor and gift this book to someone because
this is not the book for you. Put it aside.
Yeah, just gift it to someone because this is not the book for you. It can't work. Okay. So he said, like, this book needs you to read, even if it's a page a day or a chapter a day. Make sure you're grasping every little concept and applying it in your life.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a good philosophy.
Yeah.
And I think it's also a nice philosophy to use in wine. Take small sips, like savor the.
Yes, you have to savor every drop.
Yeah.
Some people I've been, like when I'm doing my tasting, then you see some people take, like you serve them like this amount.
Yeah.
And someone will take it in like a sip or two. And you're looking at that person and you're like, okay, you've already finished you.
It's in your stomach. Did you experience it? No.
What do you think about the wine?
Yeah.
Did you even get the aromas, the flavors, all those things? And it's like, no. And I always say wine is one of those things. It's like it's the pleasures of, it's the little pleasures of life.
Yeah.
It's something that you should enjoy, savor, live in that moment at that point.
Yeah.
Don't drink it just to finish.
It's true.
Yes, I know. Okay, sometimes people just want to get drunk and be done with it.
But I think there are drinks that can get you there faster.
Exactly.
So
not wine.
Just take some tequila.
Because like there are people
tequila.
Yeah, because there are people who like take wine to get high, and they're like, okay, this thing is not getting me high. How many bottles do I need of this to get high? And I'm like, you don't drink wine too. If your end goal is to get hammered, it just might not.
You're in the wrong drink. You're in the wrong drink aisle.
Yes.
And before we let you go, do you have any parting wisdom? How can people find you? How can people? Yeah.
Cut.
Yes. So how can people find you? What is the future for women who wine? Any other little wisdom that you want to leave us with?
My parting shot is...
Lastly, before we let you go, do you have any parting wisdom for us, for our listeners? Where can people find you? Do you have, anything you want to share with us? What's the future for women who wine? And
Okay. So I'm going to say wine is a healthy drink. So if you're looking for something healthy to consume, while still enjoying life and feeling good about yourself, go for wine. Wine is a good it's a good option. And always carry a corkscrew. Wine will always show up.
Yes, that's advice that I live by, and I think in my handbag I always have a corkscrew.
Yes.
But for me, it's because of the many incidences that I've tried to open a bottle with the wrong things.
Oh yes.
Like just a shoe.
Yeah, you find yourself somewhere and no one has something to open. Yeah, and I always, how they say it's like a magnet. Every time you carry a corkscrew, trust me, there's always gonna be wine somewhere.
It's gonna find you.
Yeah, so always carry. The one thing you never leave at home
in your handbag. Yeah,
always have it in your handbag, like your lipstick. Carry your corkscrew.
Yay!
Yes. So now, also, but as much as we say drink your wine, and I always tell people this every time we do a tasting or an event.
Yeah.
also it's still alcohol. People say wine doesn't get you high, wine doesn't get you drunk like other drinks. It's still alcohol.
Yeah.
So drink responsibly.
Yes. Hydrate.
Yes. And read your books. And hydrate. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And wine is one of those things you can really enjoy as you read your books.
Yeah.
So if you're a book lover, you might end up loving wine a lot at the same time. It's one of those, the two pleasures of life,
Yeah.
Yeah. So drink responsibly. Remember to always hydrate. People say, you always get a headache after drinking wine. Because you're not drinking water.
It's true.
You're not drinking water. And some people say, oh, why am I drinking water? It's a counter. It's a counter reaction. Like, I'm not gonna get high if I'm, like, I'm having a glass of water after every glass of wine. Then what's the point?
But I mean, both are ending up in your system. So I don't know. You're not diluting anything.
People forget when you're taking like whiskey and you take water. I mean,
you're not diluting anything.
You're not diluting anything.
Math is not mathing.
It's not mathing at all. And always make sure don't drink on an empty stomach if possible. Make sure you eat. People treat wine like it's not alcohol. Wine is alcohol.
It's true, and most wines are over 10%.
Yes.
So
you find a wine that is like 14.5%. That's lethal.
Yeah, true.
It's lethal. And you see people forget wine. You're not diluting with water like other drinks.
You're
taking it as it is.
Yeah. Ideally, you shouldn't. But I've seen people do funny, interesting things.
Okay, you can make cocktails with your wine.
Yeah.
But you need to know how to do it. Don't just I see people taking Coca-Cola and red wine, Sprite and white wine, and I'm like, oh my God, that's disrespecting. You're disrespecting wine. Please don't do that. Yeah. So
how can people find you?
So you can find me on social media, Women Who Wine _KE.
Okay. So how can people find you?
Okay, so I'm on Instagram as Women Who Wine _KE. So just recently started working on my website, which is gonna be ready. So I'm gonna get back to blogging. I love writing. So be prepared for a lot of information about wine, because I feel when I write things on Instagram, Instagram doesn't allow you to write whole composition.
I know there's a character limit.
Yes, and sometimes I get carried away and I'm just writing. Yeah. So I want it to be
the archiving of information.
Yes, so it's going to be on a blog, which is easily, you can easily find everything, any information you need instead of scrolling Instagram.
Yeah.
Yes, then we're also going to be updating all the events there, our calendar of events, anything we're doing, anything coming up, it's going to be there.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'm also hoping to get back on YouTube.
Yay.
So I'm on YouTube as Wine with Rahab, but I have been slacking.
No, it's fine. It's always nice to take life at its rhythm.
Yes. So, but I'm hoping to bring it back soon, very soon.
Okay, good stuff. Thank you so much for gracing Books and Wine, the podcast. And and I also make wine scented candles. Oh,
yes,
nice.
Yes, I make wine scented candles. So the handle is Unwind by Rahab.
Yeah.
Yes. So
as in unwind.
Yes, it's like unwind. It's like a word play for unwind.
Yeah.
So it's Unwind by Rahab. So I make so if you love whatever wine you love, if you love a Cabernet Sauvignon, there's a Cabernet Sauvignon candle. If you love your sparkling wine, there's a what is it called? There's a champagne candle.
Nice.
Yes. Anything you like, it's available. And I also do something called the wine fair. So it's like a wine festival. Yes. So we've done 2 events so far last year. This year we are doing one at the end of August.
Okay.
So we're going to be updating that on social media also.
Nice.
So if you're looking for something fun to do in August, that's
all
it.
things wine.
Yes.
Candles,
all things wine.
fair, events.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
And hopefully Books and Wine will be there.
Yes, we must.
Yes, we need you there.
We've tried to come in the last one.
Yes.
But then, I think I'd traveled around that time.
Yeah, I remember.
But that's life.
Yes.
Things happen when they need to happen.
They do. You trust I always say trust the process, trust the timing.
The universe.
The universe is never wrong.
Yeah.
Yes.
For instance, this particular interview just happened when it needed to
yes.
happen. And I'm so glad we finally got to do this.
Thank you.
So that's it. Listeners, so if you have taken anything, I'm sure you've left with a lot of gems. But I think the one I would like to emphasize the most is like have fun with wine.
Oh yes.
Have fun
yes.
with wine.
Don't make it so complicated.
It shouldn't be complicated.
Yeah.
Savor the moments.
And don't be intimidated, because I know people get intimidated by wine.
Yeah. Savor the moments. Relax into it, lean into it.
Yes. And experiment.
And experiment.
Don't always, I know people stick to a certain brand or certain grape.
Yeah.
There's so many to explore. So drink as much as you can. Don't be shy.
Drink widely.
Yes.
Drink widely and drink wisely.
Oh, responsibly. Yes.
I think we're gonna put that in a t-shirt. Yeah. Drink widely, but drink wisely.
Yes.
Awesome. See you on the next episode. And in the meantime, you can find us on social media, Books and Wine KE on TikTok, Books and Wine KE again on Twitter and on Instagram, Books and Wine KE. And we have an exciting thing coming up, which is a Books and Wine retreat in August.
Oh, nice.
You can find all that information on the website and the link in bio on all our social media pages. And I hope to see you then. Bye.